From the dawn of creation, the Charred Council has maintained the balance across existence. Carrying out their orders are the four horsemen of the apocalypse, Nephilim, powerful beings spawned from the unnatural union of angel and demons, who have pledged themselves to the council and have been given immense power. However, this power came at a tragic cost. The horsemen were ordered to use their newfound strength to wipe out the rest of their kind. What followed was a bloody battle in Eden where the horsemen obeyed the will of the council and annihilated the Nephilim.
Malgros the Defiler, for conspiring with Lucifer, committing countless crimes against all of creation, and by order of the council, I hereby sentence you to death.
Who? You come into my place alone, threaten me, and think you're just walking out of here.
It does sound funny hearing you say it.
I'm gonna count to 3. If you're still standing here, I'm gonna defile your corpse in ways you can't possibly imagine. Feed what's left to my boys. Horse meat's their favorite. 1,
2, 3! Sorry. We're in a hurry. Oh, and I'm not alone.
Still reeling from the events on Eden, War and Strife have been given a new assignment. Lucifer, the enigmatic and deceptive Demon King, has been plotting to upset the balance by granting power to master demons throughout hell. War and Strife must hunt down these masters, gather information, and ultimately fight their way through a tangled, demonic conspiracy that threatens to forever upset the balance and unravel all of creation. This all takes place before the events of the first game in the series, and it's also the first to feature 2 of the Horsemen as playable characters. Developer Airship Syndicate has taken charge of one of the most enthralling narratives of modern gaming in a respectfully monumental way. In the process, they've enhanced the overall narrative by offering more exposition on not just the Horsemen, but also the overall Darksiders universe as a whole. To do so effectively with 2 characters at the same time meant that the gameplay had to be changed from that of a third-person action RPG to an isometric RPG. Despite this change, they've somehow managed to keep the core fundamentals of the combat uniquely Darksiders while improving on it in some ways. War and Strife both have their own unique weapons, combat styles, and abilities. However, Strife's uniqueness stands out among the 4. He boasts 2 pistols, Mercy and Redemption, along with dual sabers and explosive spikes. With this arsenal, he's well adapted to fighting at range, but not totally incompetent at close quarters. Strife also has his Anarchy form similar to that of his other siblings, which he dons by gathering energy from attacking enemies. In this form, he resembles a black-horned goblin with a scorpion tail for a ponytail and a minigun for a hand. As for War, he remains mostly the same as he was depicted in previous Darksiders titles. Equipped with the intimidating Chaos Eater, Vorpal Blades, and Tremor Gauntlets, he's a force to be reckoned with. War basks in the glory of battle and is at his best carving up enemies while dodging in close quarters. His chaos form is that of a hulking fiery demon with a massive flaming sword in hand. Furthermore, the battle system includes the ability to add elemental effects to the attacks of each rider. Most of them are the conventional electric or fire type additions, but they're just the tip of the iceberg. By holding the left bumper and rotating the right stick, it's possible to activate abilities like the gravity shot for Strife, which pushes away enemies and holds them in place while dealing damage. For War, you may find his vampiric enhancement to be the most formidable choice. It not only does reasonable damage, but also turns that damage into health for War. And these are just 2 of the 6 enhancements. Each rider also has special moves like War's swords erupting from the ground around him, or Strife's clones, which provide distractions and extra damage. War can also block and counter attacks, while Strife summons extra clones to attack enemies thanks to his near miss ability. In addition to all of that, we even get a special skill tree system that allows for even more abilities and buffs for the horsemen. These come in the form of creature cores, which drop from some minor enemies and bosses upon their defeat. These cores can be placed into slots and linked together based on their type and arrangement on the tree. It's also possible to improve them by collecting multiple versions of the same cores. As for progression, Darksiders Genesis has a main story and quests. The latter is just a series of achievements that the player can complete for rewards, including souls to be used in Vulgrim's shop, creature cores, and other consumables. These quests are quite simple and most you'll complete without even noticing. However, you'll need to visit the quest menu every time to claim their rewards. As for the main plot, it fits perfectly with all the other games in the franchise and is a full-length experience. Levels are huge and detailed to perfection. Most are filled with collectibles, hidden items, side quests, and puzzles to solve. And when not doing those, it's possible to grind the arena for creature cores and souls to unlock new abilities for the horsemen. Just to give you an idea of what to expect, my time with the game was about 20 hours, but I'm sure I could have completed in half that time if I didn't partake in all of the side stuff like the arenas or finding all the hidden collectibles, which is something you're going to want to do. Visually, this is a gorgeous game on the PC. Running it at 4K, 1440p or 1080p is a treat to the eyes. It's full of color, stuff happening in the backgrounds, and lots of atmospheric effects. In a way, I think that the game being isometric has allowed the devs to focus on some aspects of it that they otherwise may not have if it wasn't. There's a lot more focus on the backgrounds and particle effects, since you'll be seeing lots of enemies on the screen from a bird's eye perspective. On the Switch, it doesn't look quite as good with blurred edges and lower resolution, yet it still does manage to look good enough at a steady frame rate. It also includes the same seamless split screen co-op as the PC, which I'm shocked is possible on the handheld. This is because during co-op play, the players are capable of exploring the maps independently or together. However, they do need to come back together to advance the plot. During split screen play, this equates to an impressive experience, especially on the Nintendo Switch. Being able to explore one side of the map and collect items as Strife, while player 2 does something else on the other side of the map with War, makes for an impressive visual and technical experience. You can even find different ways to progress depending on the horseman you're using, or work together to achieve more. If you don't happen to have a local player 2, you're also able to use online co-op or play solo and switch between War and Strife on the fly.
No! Lucifer promised I'd be safe! He said I'd be protected! He promised! Take it all!
We're the Council's enforcers. You really think you can buy us with this worthless... Oh, okay. You almost had me. Brother, wait!
Speaking of War and Strife, they both have a wonderful dynamic between them. Moments where they had banter really harken back to the dynamic between War and Death in the novel Darksiders the Abaddon Vault, which, if you haven't read it, you really should. It's on Amazon, Kindle and Audible, and I've read it twice, so you have no excuse. Anywho, back to the game. War is just as you remember him being from the other games. He's calm, cool, and totally menacing in a heavy metal kind of way. Strife, on the other hand, is sarcastic and lighthearted, but can flip the switch to end someone in an instant. Of the four, that is still my favorite, but Strife has become a close second. That being said, I did have some problems with him and some of the other aspects of this game. To begin with, Strife's way of speech, or should I say his accent, doesn't fit the rest of the franchise. More often than not, he sounds urban American and nothing like all the otherworldly characters around him. What's more, this is not the first time we've heard this character in the games. In Darksiders 3, he's voiced by Phil Lamar, who did an excellent job with the character as he's done with other characters including Vulgrim, a role he reprises in Darksiders Genesis. This is not to say that Chris Jai Alex didn't do a good job, but rather that he could have been directed to do the character more in line with the work that Phil did before him while incorporating the humor that his rendition offers. During cutscenes, his voice work stood out as weaker than the rest, especially Liam O'Brien as War, Vernon Wells as Samael, and the aforementioned Phil Lamar as Vulgrim, simply because of how spectacular they were with the material. They sound like you'd expect a heavy metal heaven and hell character to sound like. Chris doesn't, and he's not the only one. Kimberly Herbert Gregory's rendition of this suffers from the exact same flaw.
If Lucifer has found a way into Eden, the scrying eye will reveal his methods.
We found this map. These scribbles make any sense to you?
Interesting. It seems Mammon possesses another vault, larger and even more well hidden. These scribbles have given us its location.
We will force the truth from Ammon's lips and show him the cost of dealing with Lucifer.
Horsemen, while you fancy yourselves impressive, you both have more to give. Much more.
Oh, motivational speech. Hold on, let me grab a drink.
The Charred Council has dispatched us, together, to wreak havoc on both sides. Balance will be restored. The wicked will be punished.
Other aspects of the game I had problems with included the in-game cutscenes, which required player input to proceed, thus breaking up their delivery. Also, the platforming, which wasn't the most accurate due to the fixed camera, the lack of any kind of camera adjustments, longer loading times on the Switch, and a final boss which leaves a lot to be desired. Those flaws, however, don't bring down the overall excellent package that is Darksiders Genesis.
How'd you manage to let a bottom feeder like that get the upper hand? No offense.
An excellent question. I could venture a guess.
I told you this day would come, Samael. I, Moloch, have come to claim your head and your kingdom.
Go. Find my associate within the void. We will continue our discussion after I drive my sword through Moloch's skull. Perhaps then we will have an answer to your question.
So, with all I've had to say so far about this game, here's my final verdict. What the team at Airship Syndicate have done with the Darksiders material is impressive to say the least. They've taken a franchise of single-player games and turned it into an excellent co-op experience while keeping the fundamentals of the original intact. Memorable characters, intricate combat, challenging boss battles, replayability. These are the words best associated with Darksiders Genesis, an excellent addition to the franchise that I can easily recommend to anyone who is a fan of the series, and it may even be the best entry point for newcomers since it takes place before the events of the other games. Thank you very much for watching this review of Darksiders Genesis. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to leave us a like and a comment in the comment section below to let me know what you think about the game. And if you'd like to see more content like this from us, make sure to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you'll always know when we put up new content.